Good morning. These are your Nassau Guardian highlights for Friday, February 20th, 2026. Brought to you by your Daily Bahamas headlines, especially for people on the go and those who are visually impaired. We begin with the main story. The controversy surrounding the Bahamas Grid Company agreement continues to intensify as political leaders trade accusations over transparency and accountability in the country's energy reform process. Opposition voices are maintaining that the full, finalized agreement governing the 25-year transmission and distribution partnership has still not been tabled in Parliament. They argue that given the scale of the reform and its direct impact on electricity bills and national infrastructure, the public deserves full disclosure of every clause and obligation. Government officials, however, have stated that while not legally required to table the document, the agreement will be made publicly available online. They insist that the reform is designed to modernize the grid, reduce outages, and improve efficiency, especially after recent power failures that left large portions of New Providence without electricity. At the heart of the debate is public trust. With Bahamas Power and Light already financially strained and dependent on government subventions, critics say taxpayers ultimately shoulder the risk and therefore must have access to the full details. The government counters that the reform is a long overdue restructuring intended to stabilize and strengthen the energy sector for the long term. Also making front-page news, the country continues to grapple with serious criminal matters before the courts. A high-profile murder case remains before the Supreme Court, while prosecutors prepare for upcoming corruption and bribery trials involving senior law enforcement officials. These developments highlight ongoing concerns about crime, accountability, and the integrity of public institutions. In social and community news, discussions continue around infrastructure reliability in several family islands, including water supply challenges and the need for contingency planning when equipment fails. Officials have pledged improvements, but residents are calling for more consistent service delivery. From the editorial page, today's editorial focuses squarely on transparency in governance. The paper questions why, in an era of digital access and open government pledges, key national agreements are not automatically published in full. The editorial argues that transparency should not depend on political pressure, but should be standard practice in a modern democracy. It urges leaders on all sides to recognize that trust is built through openness, not defensiveness. In letters to the editor, one writer reflects on the importance of civic participation as the country approaches a general election, encouraging Bahamians to register, verify their polling locations, and vote responsibly. Another letter expresses frustration over economic pressures, including the rising cost of living, and calls on leaders to prioritize policies that directly impact working families. Turning to the business section front page, energy reform again dominates discussion, with analysts noting that investor confidence hinges on clarity and stability in regulatory frameworks. The restructuring of the transmission and distribution network is being closely watched by stakeholders as it will shape future private sector participation in utilities. In other business news, there are reports of continued activity in the construction and development sectors, signaling cautious optimism in parts of the economy. At the same time, business leaders emphasize the need for policy consistency and fiscal prudence to maintain growth momentum. Those are your Nassau Guardian highlights for today. To read the full stories and additional reports, I encourage you to purchase a copy of today's Guardian or visit their website for complete coverage in this edition. As always, staying informed is not just a habit, it is a responsibility. An informed nation is a stronger nation. Enjoy your day, be blessed, and be a blessing.